Hi, I'm Craig, and today I want to talk about a butcher. When I was a kid, my parents did the most unbelievable thing anyone could imagine. They moved from our home in north central Wisconsin to Southern California, just outside of Santa Barbara. It was crazy. We went from winter wonderland full of Scandinavian, Nordic, and otherwise Germanic people to this warm, exotic place where schools didn't have hallways and you could have Christmas on the beach. You could wear shorts all winter long. And we discovered a lot of things. We discovered what it was like to have relatives visit just about every week that we lived there for 2 years. We also discovered, how to use baby oil to take tar balls off your legs after you've been swimming in the ocean. What it meant to be able to go from mountain to sea in a single day. But maybe the most important and lasting thing we discovered was salsa. Now, growing up in the upper Midwest, the long Midwest, the land of hearty meals and long winters, salsa was kind of a revelation. It was new to us. It was the early 80s. We didn't have it when I was growing up. And my mom found it because she started going to this butcher shop. As I said, we had a lot of company when we lived out there. It was nearly every other week we had some relative or friend from back home coming out to bask in the California sunshine and force me to sleep in a bed with either my grandma or one of my older sisters so that we could spare a room. And when they came, my mom always wanted to make her specialty, which was a kind of thick cut pork chops called Iowa chops. Now they're called Iowa chops. I don't know why, other than you can find the best ones in Iowa. And she wasn't able to find them at like the Safeway or the grocery store. So she found this butcher shop not far from our house. This guy knew exactly what she was talking about, and she began going in fairly regularly. While she was there, she discovered salsa, right? It was homemade salsa that they usually sold as a condiment for whatever meat you were buying at this butcher shop. Now, my mom went in there pretty regularly, and it got to be that this butcher, whose name is lost to my memory, knew what she was going to order before she came in the door. He knew that every other Thursday, Judy was going to come in because she had some family coming into town. So you might as well prepare the Iowa chops, a couple of steaks for after they leave, kind of to celebrate, and a quart of salsa. Mom was maybe this guy's best customer. And they got to be really good friends. And for the most of the 2 years that we were there, Mom kept asking for this guy's salsa recipe. And he absolutely refused to give it to her. She said, please, I really want to know how to do it. I really want to make it. And he said, I will not give this recipe out. It is my own. It's been passed down through my family, and I don't give it out. We found out a couple of months before we actually moved away from California and back to Wisconsin, and eventually onto the Cleveland area, that we were going to be leaving, and Mom went in and gave one last plea. Please, can I have your salsa recipe? I promise I won't share it with anybody. I'm not even going to be living here anymore. The guy said, you show up in my parking lot with your moving van, and I'll give you the recipe. So that's what she did. She arranged for the movers to pack up all of our stuff and said, guys, you have to follow me to the butcher shop, which was an unusual experience for the Beacons Company in 1986, but they did it anyway, and they showed up, and true enough, this guy had not only prepared Mom's usual salsa order. He put together a little basket for her for the long drive back to Wisconsin, and he ripped off a sheet of butcher paper, and in a wax crayon, he wrote the recipe down. It was heaven for Mom. And when she got home, she tried to make it and realized that the quantities in which this guy made his salsa was maybe a little big for our family of five, because he made it in gallons, not quarts, right? Mom framed that recipe, figured out how to break it down, and to this day has it hanging in her kitchen. Now, why am I thinking about a butcher, and why does it matter to you? Well, it's because I spend a lot of time thinking about what modern marketing is. We live in an age of almost limitless channels, social channels, emerging channels, digital channels, owned and operated, broadcast, traditional print, owned, billboards, experiential. And it can all feel a little overwhelming. Right? Especially because this age has grown out of an age where the message was really the hero, the golden age of the Mad Men, where if you came up with this incredible sort of catchy catchphrase, you could guarantee getting it in front of somebody because there were 3 TV channels, maybe a couple cable channels, 2 daily newspapers, and radio. But if you go back even further, marketing looked a lot like what that butcher was doing. He took the time to get to know my mom, the way he got to know every one of his customers, I'd imagine, especially his regulars. He knew what they wanted. He knew what they might like. He knew what to recommend because he took the time to get to know them as people. So what does this have to do with modern marketing in a world of on-demand programmatic and TikTok? We have choice in how we invest our attention now. As buyers, as people, we are able to access the sum total of human knowledge through one of these things. We can spend hours scrolling through TikTok. We can spend days doing a deep dive on something we're really passionate about. We're not bound to those 3 channels, those 2 newspapers and radio. The hero is no longer the message. My curiosity is. What I want is. I give a lot of talks to people who say, you know, how do we figure out what our marketing strategy should be? What channel should we be on? Do I need to be on TikTok? And my answer is always, are your customers there? Do you know enough about your customers to be where they are, anticipate their needs, and provide them not only what they're looking for, but recommendations on things they haven't yet known to ask for? Can you develop a relationship of give and take, right? Where I'm coming in regularly for my Iowa chops and my quarter salsa. And can you reward loyalty and curiosity and continued patronage by taking the time to make a gift basket when they move out of town and write down that recipe in wax crayon on butcher's paper? I think a lot about those butchers because it's easy to mistake the technology as the asset, right? It's easy to mistake the message as the hero. But that's not really what happens in marketing. It never has been. The era of the Mad Men, Sixth Avenue creative is actually more of a fluke in time than the sort of bedrock of our industry. It developed out of mass media. We have so much mass media now that we can completely create one-to-one media and personalized media. But it changes the way we need to think about things. We need to think about it more like that butcher who got to know my mom, who exchanged letters with her until I think he passed away. When you're thinking about what should your marketing strategy be, don't let technology and means dictate your strategy. Your strategy should always be, how do I treat my best customers like my best customers? How do I treat my new customers so well that they become my regulars so well that they become my best customers? How do I know somebody so well and provide so much value that I can be predictive? And how do I create a relationship with them at scale that's so strong that they'll ask the moving van to show up in the parking lot just so they can take a piece of you home with them? Think about a butcher. It's not that hard. Thanks.